Good morning. Welcome back to the yet another section of women's writing. In our last class, we went through Kamala Das in detail. Today, we are going to start the poem An Introduction, written by Kamala Das. An Introduction by Kamala Das was published in her first collection, Summer Calcutta, in 1965. The collection focuses on love and the pain that follows betrayal. This particular piece is one of her most well known. It is conventional in nature in that Kamala Das is professing her own deep emotions in regards to the patriarchy controlling her life and the lives of countless suffering women. She played a critical role in the establishment of the Indian feminist movement. Before going to the paraphrase, I want to give a brief summary about the poem An Introduction. I already told you An Introduction. This poem was published in her first collection of poetry, Summer in Calcutta. It was published in 1965. An Introduction by Kamala Das describes the poet's own mental and emotional state as she aged and pushed back against patriarchal society. An introduction begins with the speaker, Kamala Das, stating that she knows all the male leaders of India. Their names are part of her, a tribute to their overwhelming power. She says, actually she is not at all interested in politics, but she knew very well about the leaders who control our India. And she is ready to give a tribute for them, and she is ready to admit their very strong power. This contrasts significantly with the lack of power she felt growing up and getting married. She struggles with her identity and is finally able to step away from the traditional role of wife. After that, she speaks about her own personal life. She married, and it is very difficult for her to get her identity. Das describes the way that men are able to move through the world with a solid identity. They are allowed their choices and emotions. In the last lines, she pushes back against this way of life by stating that she feels things that do not belong to the man she loves. She too can be I. When she concludes this poem, An Introduction, she reveals that all the men in this world are able to move through the world with a solid identity. But what about women? Why they have lost their identity? But in the last line, she pushes back against this way of life, and she feels things that do not belong to the man she loves. She proves that she too can be I. She declares the self-assertion through this poem. Let us go to the poem. So all of you please take the page number 50 in your textbook. I don't know politics, but I know the names of those in power and can repeat them like days of week or name of months, beginning with Nehru. I am Indian, very brown, born in Malabar. I speak 3 languages, write in 2, dream in 1. In the first section of an introduction, the speaker begins by comparing her knowledge of politicians to the days of the week and the months of the year. But at the same time, she is not interested in politics. She knows the leaders from Nehru onwards in correct chronological order. Although she does not have a firm grasp on politics itself, those in power have remained in her mind. But at the same time, she is not at all interested in politics. But she knows very well who controlled our nation. This shows their power to be much greater than their role show allow. Actually, she is speaking about their power. She is ready to accept their triumph and power. The first of these she is able to recall is Nehru, who served as India's first Prime Minister after the withdrawal of the British. After these opening lines that set the scene, the speaker moves on to describe her on being. She says she is Indian and she is very brown. Lastly, she is from Malabar in southwest India. These are the basics of her life. But of course not everything. These are the basic elements relating herself. She adds that she is able to speak 3 languages, write in 2, dream in 1. She continues to describe language and the role it plays in her life by saying that she is judged for writing in English. It is not mother tongue. Whenever she is criticized for how she speaks and writes, she feels as if she is alone. There is no one, not her friends or cousins, who back her up. I don't know politics, but I know the names of those in power and can repeat them like days of week or name of month. Beginning with Nehru, I am Indian, very brown, born in Malabar. I speak 3 languages, write in 2, dream in 1. Don't write in English, they said. English is not your mother tongue. Why not leave me alone? Critics, friends, visiting cousins, every one of you. Why not let me speak in any language I like? The language I speak becomes mine, its distortions, its cureness, all mine, mine alone. It is half English, half Indian, funny perhaps, but it is honest. So we can go through the paraphrase. In the first section of an introduction, the speaker begins by comparing her knowledge of politicians to the days of the week and months of the year. Although she does not have a firm grasp on politics itself, those in power have remained in her mind. This shows their power to be much greater than their role should allow. The first of these she is able to recall is Nehru, who served as India's first Prime Minister after the withdrawal of the British. After these opening lines that set a scene, the speaks moves on to describe on her being. After these opening lines that set the scene, the speaker moves on to describe her own being. She is Indian and she is very brown. Lastly, she is from Malabar in southwest India. These are the basics of her life, but of course not everything. After that, she started to speak about her basic elements. She declares that she is Indian, she is very brown, she is from Malabar. She is very proud to declare that I am an Indian. I am very brown in color. I am from Malabar. She adds that she is able to speak 3 languages, write in 2, dream in 1. She continues to describe language and the role it plays in her life by saying that she is judged for writing in English. It is not her mother tongue. Whenever she is criticized for how she speaks and writes, she feels as if she is alone. There is no one, not her friends or cousins, who back her up. They are critics, everyone. So we can say that she declares, I can speak in 3 languages. I can write in 2 languages. I dream in 1 language. She is writing in both languages, English and Malayalam. Of course, English is not her mother tongue. Many people, they started to criticize her, why you are writing in English, including her relatives. At the moment she felt she is alone in this world because no one is ready to back her up. No one is ready to support her. She directs the next line at this group, asking them why they care what she speaks. She feels a deep connection to the words she uses and how, through distortions, her language can only be defined as her own. That's why she is giving the response through this poem and introduction. Who criticizes her very badly. She says that, why you are thinking about my language? It's my freedom. It's my decision. Why you are bothered about my language? Her language can only be defined as her own. Once again, we can go through the paraphrase of these lines. Here we can see that in the first lines, she declares men as the rulers of country. We can't see any women in that list. The poet starts explaining by saying that she does not know the politics because she is not at all interested. But she is well aware of the politicians of her country from Nehru to the ones of her own times. And as the politics of India has always remained in fewer hands, here the hands of men, she has memorized the names of all the politicians like the days of the week or the names of the month. I already told you, even she doesn't know the details or the inner conflicts in the politics. But she can tell the names of the leaders who controlled India in the chronological order. The lines depict how the males have been ruling the country without giving the right to the women. Moreover, the rulers are fewer in numbers because democracy exists only in words. In reality, the rule of the country remains in the hands of some people only who have assumed themselves to be the permanent rulers. Through these lines, she reminds us we can't see women in their list, in the list of the leaders who controlled our country. At the same time, we can see that the power is in the hands of only few members. So, democracy exists only in words. Now the poet comes towards her own life experience. She says that she is an Indian and brown in color. She is born in Malabar. She can speak 3 languages, write in 2, and dreams in one of the dreams have a universal language. In these lines, she explains her Indianness. She is very proud to declare that I am an Indian. My skin color is brown. I am born in Malabar. So, she is very proud to declare that I am an Indian. She says, I know 3 languages. I can write in 2. I am dreaming in 1 language. Through these lines, she explains her Indianness. Like most of the citizens of India, she is also capable of speaking 3 languages and writing in 2, probably the English and her native language. She says that she dreams of one because the world of dreams is common to all. That's why she says dream in 1 language. In this world, every individual, male or female, uses the same universal language. These lines can be interpreted in another way as well. The poet perhaps tries to show her ability in the educational sphere, which is no access to most of the women. Women can also write and speak in 2 languages like men who control our country. She says that she speaks 3 languages and is also capable of writing in 2. In addition, is also dreams of any man in the world. Dream in 1 language. Through this line she says, women can also dream like men. They have also their own dreams. She probably compares herself to the man of the world, trying to show that she is no lesser than him. She has also power. She possesses all those qualities and abilities that make him superior. Hence, though she is a woman, she is no lesser than him in terms of ability, passion and creativeness. Moreover, in the world of dreams, she is equally an individual as the man is, and so she wants this status in the real world as well. Through these lines, she proves that there is no inequality between men and women in the case of their ability, passion and creativeness. Like men, they can also use 3 languages. They can write and speak in 2 languages. They have the right to dream. At the same time, she reminds us we can't see the presence of women in democracy. The power is only in the hands of a few men. They were controlled the entire world. I think all of you understood these lines. Then we can move to the next. Indian, funny, perhaps, but it is honest. Is as human as I am human. Don't you see? It voices my joys, my longings, my hopes. It is useful to me as a coin is to cross or roaring to the alliance. It is human speech, the speech of the mind. That is, I hear and not there, a mind that sees and hears and is aware. Not the deaf, blind speech of trees in storm or monsoon clouds, or of rain, or the incoherent mutterings of the blazing funeral pyre. In these lines of an introduction, the speaker goes on to describe herself as half English, half Indian. She sees the humor in this combination and acknowledges that fact as it as honest. Because she can write in both languages, English and Malayalam. So that's why she reveals that half English, half Indian. She sees the humor in this combination and acknowledges that the fact as it is honest. This seems to be one of the most important parts of her. A desire for authenticity and honesty. Her identity as seen through her voice is human, just as she is human. In my introduction class of Kamala Das, I already told you she wrote very openly. So she is very honest in her writing. That's why she says it is human. She is human. Das describes the control she has over her voice, whether through speech or text. It can display all her emotions and her mind that sees and hears and is aware. So she reminds us human speech is to humans as roaring is to lions. We can't change the roar of lions. Just like that, human speech is to humans. Roaring, it is in the case of lions. It is intelligible, unlike the roaring of a storm or the mutterings of the blazing fire. You have heard the sound of crows, the sound of lions, but you can't identify what it communicates. What about humans? Human speech is to humans. The speaker defines her freedom through the use of her voice. Once again, we can go through the paraphrase of these lines. Being well familiar with the English She uses this language in her writings. However, this habit of her is not liked by her cousins, friends, and relatives. They all condemn her for writing in English as according to them. English is the language of the colonists. She asks them why they criticize her, why she is not given liberty to write in whatever language she desires. I already told you, the people around her, including her friends, relatives, cousins, the readers, they started to criticize her. Why you are writing in English language? She is giving the response through this poem. She says that why she is not given liberty to write in whatever language she desires. It's her own freedom to write in any language. Her freedom through the use of her voice. Then why you are questioning me? In these lines, she exposes the jealous nature of her nears and dears who cannot endure her skills. That is the reason. They can't use the language fluently like her. So she speaks about the jealous nature of her relatives. This makes them criticize her. Having no logical reason to put restrictions on her writing in English, they try to tell her that the language she writes in is the language of colonists and thus she should avoid using it. Because they do not know how to use this language. They are not at all smart in English language. That's why they are criticizing her. They are forcing her to stop to write in English language. However, she asks them how a language can be owned by a particular community. It belongs to every person who uses it, and thus she should not be stopped from using it. So she gave the response through these powerful lines. She says how a language can be owned by a particular community. Any human being can study the language. They have the right to use any language. They can express the feelings through the language. So how you can say that language can be owned by a particular community? Language belongs to every person who uses it. It is not a private property. We can't tell anyone you don't speak in a particular language. It's their right. If they know that particular language, they can definitely speak in that language or write in that language. It's their own freedom. We can't threaten them or we can't advise them, you don't use the particular language. Thus, she should not be stopped from using it. It's her right. It's her freedom to use any language. So she reveals very strongly that I am not at all ready to stop to write in English language. At the same time, we can also give the meaning in another way that like men, women can also use 3 languages. They can also write in 2 languages. They have the right to dream. They have their own desires, just like men. The language in which she writes is her own alone. with all its imperfections and strangeness. She continues like that. Even when you go through my works, you can feel its distortions, its queerness, its strangeness, its limitations. So the language in which she writes is her own along, with all its imperfections and strangeness. Definitely, a person uses a particular language, we can see a lot of imperfections and strangeness, because it is not her mother tongue. When we are speaking about English language, it is not her mother tongue. Even in the case of mother tongue, we can feel the imperfections and also the strangeness. Whatever it is her own right to speak, think or write in any language. The language is though not fully English, yet she considers it to be honest, because like her as her language is also imperfect like her, which a quiet normal thing is. So she is ready to admit that there is limitation in her language. It is not perfect. In these lines, she shows her ownership of the English and also the freedom of using it. She is imperfect, but this makes her a human. Thus, she should not be scolded for her mistakes or shortcomings. But she wonders why society ignores the mistakes or even blunders of men and questions the mistakes of women, although the fact is that every person in the world is imperfect. At the same time, she wants to focus the attention on that the society is not at all ready to criticize about men's writing, about their own language, about their imperfections and strangeness. But society is very eager to criticize women's writing, their language and their imperfections. What is the reason behind that? The language expresses her joys, grief and hopes. For he, it is like cawing is to crows and roaring is to lions, that it is an integral part of her expression. She says, through the language, we are expressing our own joys, grief and hopes. We are sharing our own emotions through this language. All the things are communicating by using their own sounds. Crow is cawing, lion is roaring. We are also familiar with the sound of trees in storm or in monsoon. Incoherent mutterings of the blazing funeral pyre, unclear mutterings of the burning fire. Funeral pyre means wood which a corpse is burned as part of funeral. So all these sounds, we can't understand the language of these sounds. But human's voice is human's. We are very familiar with that. We can recognize the sounds of the other things, but we can't communicate it with. But in her case, she is very honest. She expressing her own joys, grief and hopes through these sounds, through her language. She further says that her speech, especially in English, is the speech of humans that minds can understand and not strange and pure, like the sound of trees in the storms or of a monsoon clouds or of rain or of dead, as the voices cannot be understood. We can just recognize the sounds of these things, the sound of the storm, monsoon clouds, rain, even the funeral pyre. We can recognize the sound, but we don't know what it says. We can't understand because it has the strange and pure feeling. Because it is strange and pure to human beings, but her language, it is the speech of humans. So everyone who knows English or Malayalam, they can understand what she is speaking. I think all of you understood these lines well. So all of you please go through the lines well. We will continue the rest of the lines in the poem in the next class. Thank you.